Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Monday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, Paul O'Neill back there on the ones and twos. It's Christmas week. Going to be a short week for most of us. We're off on Friday, but riding you right on up to Thursday. Hope you are kicking off the week, and it is a good one for you. Lots to get to over the next hour. Obviously, LSU basketball up in Bossier City. We'll get to that in the second hour, but the first hour, we will be heavy on the NFL and the New Orleans Saints. Sharif Ishaq with us in 30 minutes. He was over in Tampa as the Saints kind of shocked the world a little bit last night and get a huge win. Mr. Hill, how we doing?
I'm doing fine. I'd be doing a lot better if you had an OC, maybe a DC right now. But look, I'll settle for some Saints right now.
I think that our OC and DC may be coaching other teams at the moment. That's kind of what I think is going on at this point. No real no significant time frame that you've got to get things sped up to now with the early signing period in the rearview mirror. Now it's just a matter of getting the right person, and if they've agreed to the job, but they have a job to do elsewhere right now, that's okay. But we'll get to some more of that as the week progresses. Do want to start with the Saints. What a performance. I did not see that one coming at all. Some people did. You'll probably hear at 3 o'clock somebody who called a shot on Friday on these airwaves, but the Saints go to Tampa, and it was ugly, but it was dominant defensively from start to finish, and they win the game 9-0. Some amazing statistical anomalies that this game provided. Tom Brady shut out for the first time in 255 starts. That is 15 years and counting. You're talking about a Bucs offense that led the league in total offense, led the league in scoring. They never ran a play in the Saints' red zone last night. Not a single play inside the Saints' 20. And, I mean, look, you talk about the Saints, they only had 3 plays of 9 yards or more last night. They didn't do anything on offense either. But the defense was so good, so dominant, and continued this run against Tampa where they've won 7 of 8 against the Bucs. And obviously the one that was the most important got away from them in the Dome last year because of turnovers. But the defense has continued to be brilliant against Tom Brady's Bucs team.
Yeah, they have. The defense has definitely been, if you watch even last year, even this year, just turning Tom over and really just playing the defensive line. I think that's it. That's what stood out to me. They played just, I think you saw Cam Jordan come back to life. That's the Cam Jordan all the Saints fans kind of expected to have going into the season this year. And I think before the game, someone had told me, Taysom's only going to have 150 yards passing, and the Bucs are going to hold the Saints to 2 yards a carry. I'd say it's going to be a long day for the Saints, and when your defense plays like that, it's a long day for the other team. So I think this is the Saints team that we kind of all were expecting. Just so much talent on that defensive side, and you saw without Sean Payton being in the mix and Coach Allen really, calling his best game all year, keeping Tom in the pocket, getting relentless pressure after him, keeping their rush attack not what you would need, and that was just a great performance for the Saints to really keep them in the wild card hunt and keep them, viable and really giving themselves a chance to make a run.
I'll be quite honest with you. I thought Tampa's game plan was terrible in this game offensively, and the Saints were excellent in countering it. Tampa just decided they weren't going to run the ball. They dropped back and just about threw it every play in the first half, and the Saints saw that and just pinned their ears back and were flying up the field. Cam Jordan was ripping off the edge like we haven't seen him do in a couple of years, it seems like. Had a couple of big plays early in the game. Davenport, I thought, was great. Onyemata made a big play late in the game getting up the field. That is a tremendous Saints front four, and they had really determined that the Bucs were going to be one-dimensional. I mean, how many times did Brady take the snap and then just as the Saints were coming up the field, either with a blitz or somebody winning a one-on-one, and just flip it out to the backs? I mean, it would seem like he did that 60% of their snaps. He was just flipping it out to Fournette or Jones or eventually Keyshawn Vaughn when the injury started to pile up. I realized that Mike Evans goes down and Godwin goes down, and you don't have the weapons that you thought you were going to have on the outside, but they got to try to run it, and the Saints were like, well, they're not. Here we come. They were tenacious.
Yeah, it got the sense that the Bucs thought they were probably down 2 or 3 scores. Just the way that game was going, really, you could have kept your game plan all game. The Saints really never pulled away. It was a one possession game for most of that whole entire game. So you can still run your offense. You still have time. You get one touchdown on the board and you get a lead. You put so much pressure on that Saints offense, and quite frankly, they didn't really perform at the highest levels. They did just enough that they needed to do to win that game. But if you're the Bucs, if you can just at least get a field goal on the board, make it a game where you just need a field goal to tie at the end. They just couldn't get anything going. You got to tip your cap to the Saints defense. Forcing Tom to fumble that ball. That's why he doesn't want to pull it down and scramble.
God, is he the slowest guy ever out there? I mean, he's 44 years old. I get it. He wasn't fast when he was 20, but man, is he slow when he gets moving.
Yeah, it's definitely not one of the more graceful runners we've seen at the quarterback position. And the Saints knew that, and they used that, and the teams are starting to use that. I'm sure you're going to see teams use the same game plan that the Saints use. Run a lot of man coverage, drop 7 into coverage, just rush your front four and get after Brady. You've seen teams that have had success against Brady do that same strategy. The Giants in the Super Bowls, they're just rushing four. If you can get a front four that can get after him, he's not mobile enough to extend plays and use his legs to really hurt you, especially when you're running man-to-man defense. So that's the Saints defense that they're going to need if they want to make this wild card playoff push.
And this is something that at this point is really indisputable. Tom Brady is the best quarterback we've ever seen, but he does have that fiery personality. You know that of sharing a huddle with him. He will get frustrated, and all the great ones do when things aren't going the way they know they should go. But the Saints have him frustrated, and he does some things that you don't see him do the other weeks of the year. I mean, the first pass he threw last night should have been intercepted, and they called it a pick, and then they went back and said no. And then they force him into that turnover on the run, and then the last pick where that was just awesome closing speed there by Gardner Johnson. They make him mad. He's furious at the game.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have a Bucs offense who they were playing well up to this game. They were doing all the things that we thought they would do. They're giving themselves an opportunity to become the number 1 seed, and you run into this same stingy Saints defense that's just giving them trouble. You just look at the regular season last year, look at the regular season this year. They've had their way with Tom for whatever reason. He just gets flustered. Not the Tom Brady we're used to seeing. That offense isn't running at the efficient clip that we've seen, and I think Tom, that the yards per play for him, normally he's throwing a high yard per completion. He's dinking and dunking, and he's got to find receivers down the field. He couldn't do that, and that last interception from C.J. Gardner-Johnson, that was an incredible play. That wasn't open. Tom normally doesn't throw that, but when you're desperate, you're trying to make a play, you're trying to put some points on the board and give yourself a chance to win. You tend to make those throws, and those are the throws that you're putting it in harm's way, and the Saints made a play. So that was I'll keep continuing to give them credit. That was an incredible performance by the defense.
And I want to get to the offense here, and we will in a second, but the defense is where you've got to start because they did such a wonderful job. I really have to think that Dennis Allen is going to get a lot of phone calls here coming up over the next 6-8 weeks, because the product he's put out there on the field the last couple of years has been absolutely sensational. And to flummox a couple of minds like Bruce Arians and Tom Brady as consistently as he has, you got to take note. And obviously he's a guy who's been a head coach before. He got the reins last night to get the team ready to go. And I don't know that you can say that there was some sort of massive impact he had at the head coach, but he is a defensive coordinator, and that's why they won the game. I think he should be getting some looks here very, very, very soon. Yeah,
you definitely will. You don't get to have a defense like the Saints have had for the past 2 years. And even with the injuries and guys being suspended, guys in and out of the lineup, they battled all year. Obviously some performances you want to probably have back, but for the most part, when you have to have it, when you need it, they've stepped up and they played huge, especially against the Bucs, who just came out for Super Bowl. So that just lets you know the standard of play. And we saw what they did against probably the MVP favorite right now, Aaron Rodgers, the first game of the year. So we know this defense can lock in and play well, and that's through the lead of Coach Dennis Allen. It's not like he's doing anything crazy like I've never seen, but he's got these guys on the same page. He's got the front four getting after the quarterback. The secondary's playing like a tight unit. Guys aren't running down the field wide open, and those are all the qualities you need to have as a defensive coordinator. And we saw with Sean Payton out, he could probably be a head coach somewhere. So I would not be shocked if his phone line for his agent starts buzzing a lot this offseason.
And here's the flip side: the Saints' offense is still terrible, and I just don't think you can fix it. You got to count on the defense to go nuts, and hopefully the offense can do enough. even one of the big plays they hit to Marquez Callaway, the post route's just grossly underthrown. The defensive back doesn't turn around, and Callaway adjusts to it and makes a play. It wasn't like a back shoulder. I mean, he just a bad pass, and it ended up working out for a big play. The play that I think made my hair stand up just more than any, and it's a second half play. It's just an incomplete pass, but Kamara runs an angle route, and he beats the linebacker, and he's got a ton of green grass in front of him. And Taysom just whiffs it, throws it behind him. He can't even catch it. And it's like that's such an easy play to make. It's such a big play in the game, and it's just not there because they just have no fluidity, no rhythm. There's nothing in that passing game that excites you at all.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think I've said that this is why I wasn't ever pounding the table for Taysom to be a every down quarterback, because it looks exactly like it looked last night. And 13 completions, just not very impressive. He had a 26 QBR out on scale of 0 to 100, which is not very good, well below average. And that's just not who he is. It's not. I see the Saints definitely moving elsewhere. I know he's just plugging in a hole right now with the injuries they have and not wanting to put the mighty Ian Book in there or Trevor Siemian, but it's just not a good scene, man. And Taysom, just to me, he doesn't smell as a quarterback to me. Just doesn't look like it. And you're going to see this offense have its L's with him, trying to be the quarterback and lead this team. But when you got a defense buzzing like that and one of the best offenses in NFL, probably the MVP partner leading the league in passing going into that game, you can give yourself a chance to win games as long as he doesn't turn it over, and he didn't do that last night.
And, the offensive line's decimated, and they're trying to hold off a really talented front of Tampa. And Taysom's a little hesitant, a little indecisive. He's seeing, things are moving quickly in the pocket. And, he does make a throw. He drops it in the bucket to Callaway in the first half on that corner route, right at there for a really big play. And like, oh, that's the stuff. And you see how talented he is when he can run. But it's just play to play, drive to drive. There's just no consistency. They don't get into a rhythm all that often. And obviously, you show up with just 9 points, you're going to lose that game 4 more often than you're not. They scored 30 against the Jets. A lot of it was late there in garbage time. 6 points against the Bills. That's what you've got. Cowboys, you score 17. There's just not much there on offense, and I just don't know. There's just nowhere to fix it. Now, I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, but as we're going to go to break here and talk about things moving forward for the playoff picture, that last night changes everything, because that's one that we all had penciled in as an L if you're taking yourself seriously. And for them to go win that game, and then all of a sudden you look at what happens around the league and you look at the Saints' remaining schedule, you're like, oh my God, they might make the playoffs. And now they're in a playoff spot right now, depending on what happens later today. So we'll talk about the playoff picture here moving forward, but any closing thoughts on what we saw in the game last night? I mean, how shocked were you they won the game?
I was very shocked. I think I looked up and I'm like, man, it's still 6-0. The Bucs still can't get anything going, and that's the Saints defense. The Saints defense played out of control. I think for me, I didn't think they could get back to this level, which they did. You look at that 5-game skid, there were some really bad teams scoring a lot of points on them, and they finished that up with how they played against the Jets and then how they played this week. I talk about it all the time. You want to finish this season on a high note. You want to finish the season hot, feeling it. This is the exact perfect time to figure out who you are as a team and try to get some momentum. And I feel like that's for the Saints. They're going right back in the direction that they want to be going in.
Shocking win for the Black and Gold over in Tampa against the defending champs last night on Sunday Night Football. We'll take a timeout, come back and look at where the playoff standings sit right now, what's going on today, and what we're looking at moving forward for the New Orleans Saints. This is Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
FanDuel!
Sports betting is coming to Louisiana, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on the FanDuel Sportsbook. To celebrate, FanDuel is giving you a $100 bonus and free site credit when you register early. That's right. Register and verify now, and you receive a free $100 bonus when we're live.
They got it all. College football, NBA, NFL, and we're getting real close to that go-live date. So download the FanDuel Sportsbook app for free. They'll give you $100 to place your first bets right there on FanDuel when you register with an account. It is safe, secure, 100% legal, and regulated. When you win on FanDuel, you can get paid in as little as 2 hours. That's why it is America's #1 sportsbook. Go to the App Store, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. The bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit. It expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. The offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law
recap the football weekend, including the Sean Payton-led Saints taking on the Bucs and the first set of bowl games, plus a recap of the first round of the fantasy football playoffs. Early line, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Sharif Ishaq was in Tampa. He will join us in about 15 minutes. Saints go get a 9-0 win over Tampa, and that has set things up a little differently than we had anticipated for the NFC playoff spot. The Saints are now 7-7. They're the only 7-7 team in the NFC right this second. So that puts them in that 7th and final playoff spot right this second. Now, there are some teams that have a chance to play. The Vikings will play tonight. If they were able to win, they would be in 7-7, and they would move ahead of the Saints based on the tiebreaker right this second. The Eagles play on Tuesday. They could also climb to 7-7 at this point. What is good is that the Saints' remaining schedule is very manageable. The Dolphins are coming up this week, and yes, the Dolphins have won 5 in a row. They've won 6 in a row, sorry. And it is against the absolute dregs of the NFL. Now, it's still beating NFL teams, but you tell me how impressed you are with this run. They beat the Texans. Then they went and beat the Ravens. That's a nice win, no doubt about it. Then you won at the Jets. then you beat the Panthers, then you beat the Giants, then you beat the Jets again. That is not great. Now, I'm not here to tell you that the Saints are one of the greatest football teams to ever take the field. So take what you will from it. But the Dolphins are a manageable team for the Saints to deal with at home. And then you got to take care of your business against the Panthers and the Falcons. But right now, the Saints are in, and we thought they probably had to win 3 of their last 4, and that would be enough. Now you've got maybe one to play with over the last 3 weeks, but I certainly, when we left the show Friday, didn't think that we'd be talking about that type of situation here coming up.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. I think, especially at the really bare end of that 5-game skid, it's just things are not looking good for the Saints. They couldn't get anything right. The defense did not play anything like they did last night, and the offense, they were going through the quarterback carousel from Simeon, wonder if Book would play, and then we saw Taysom hurt his finger, and we just were thinking there's no way they could be in a wild card position to make a run, but that's exactly what they are in. Because I said it myself, until you're mathematically eliminated, you got to keep playing. You got to go out there and keep trying to give yourself a chance to win. And I know for some Saints fans, they wanted to get those high draft picks, but I don't think you're ever operating like that, especially when you have the most wins since 2014 or 15, which is the Saints have right now. It's something ridiculous up there. They're competitive. They want to win, and that's exactly what they put themselves in position to do. But I think with a Dolphins team, which I've watched them, I'm not too impressed with them. I'm not just blown away like, man, it's going to be really hard to stop the Dolphins on this 5-game run that they're on. I never saw that. I think it's a very beatable game for the Saints. I think if you saw the pressure that they put on Tom Brady, if you put anything remotely close to that type of pressure on Tua, I think you're going to get some turnovers. You may even knock him out of the game just the way he's kind of dealt with getting hit. So I think it's definitely a winnable game for the Saints.
I realize this is hard to follow, but we'll do it, and I'll try to walk slow as I can. We mentioned Washington and Philly are both 6-7. Obviously, the Saints beat Washington. Philly beat the Saints. But here's what's coming up. Obviously, they play each other tonight. So the winner will be 7-7. The loser will be 6-8. They also play each other again in Week 17. That game will be in Philly. So those two teams still play each other twice, which means some movement's going to take place there one way or another. I guess if you're the Saints, a split wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Or if you just want to knock Philly out and have Washington win both, I could get on board with that. Either way, what you really can't have is the Eagles winning both of those games.
Yeah.
At Washington, the other 2 games they have, they're at Dallas, which is obviously a very difficult game, and they're at the Giants, who stink. So that's kind of what you're looking at as far as what Washington has. Now, Philly, as we mentioned, they've got Washington, and they are Cowboys and Giants as well. Both of those games are in Philly. So the Eagles have an easier road. The Saints need Washington to help them out tonight and in a couple of weeks. That's basically where you are in the NFC, and of course, the Saints have got to take care of their own business.
Yeah, you got to start there first. I think you always got to start there. You want to avoid that situation. I think you avoid a 5-game skid, you would be in a great position right now. But this is where you are. But for the Saints, I think you got to finish this season 10-7. To give yourself the optimal chance. And I think in most years you're feeling good about it. 10-6 years, obviously we're playing an extra game, so 10-7. It sounds crazy, but that's normally where you're at when you're making a playoff wildcard push, and that's where the Saints are at. So they may need a little help here, but I think for them, they got to continue to doing what they've been doing the past 2 weeks and get back to their winning ways and avoid kind of the slumps and kind of just the way they were playing on that 5-game skid. I think the offense isn't, they're not where they want to be right now. But I think for the defense can definitely take this and really try to build off of this and really try to make this last wildcard push.
What kind of chance do you give them to finish this thing off and get into the playoffs?
I would go. I'm actually feeling a little bullish on the Saints right now, so I go probably a 70% chance to get in the wild card. So that 7th seed. I'm not going crazy. I think the last very spot is probably where they're at, because I think the other teams, Washington, they got a lot of tough division games left. The Eagles got some tough division games left, and they're not the favorites to win their division. So I think for me, the Saints are in a good spot. They beat the best team in their division twice already, so they don't have to worry about that monster.
Here's the deal, Saints fans. You got to pull for the Cowboys.
Ooh.
you got to pull for the Cowboys to beat the Eagles and beat the Redskins. They get a swing at both of them, and you got to pull for them. So how to put that on for size, Who Dat Nation? You got to pull for the Cowboys, America's team. Everybody's got to be thrilled about that. I hate to do it. Like, I'm not trying to be contrarian or a jerk or try to like poke the fire. I watched the Saints team play offense, and I just don't think they're going to win the last 3 games. Now, they may be able to get in at 9-8. I mean, it's possible, depending on how the dominoes fall. But I just have a hard time believing they're going to win their last 3 games. And I realize they just shut out Tampa, and that defense is healthy and is playing exceptionally well. But this offense still is just brutal to watch. And so I tend to think there's at least one hiccup, if not 2, coming up. Just kind of the way it feels. But it wouldn't shock me if the Saints did it. I just kind of lean the other way because I just think you've got a hurt, compromised, ceilinged quarterback with no weapons on the outside. Your offensive line is still gimpy. We'll see if Ramczyk and or Armstead can come back at some point. But right now it's just a mash unit up front, a mash unit on the outside, and a gimpy quarterback. Just doesn't seem like a recipe for dominant offensive performance anytime soon.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's I think the offense is probably the biggest sore to see, especially when you're watching the Saints. They just all year really. It just hasn't been what you would want to see. And I think for them, they gotta continue to, I think, ride their defense, go old school football, go old Les Miles football, run the crap out of the ball, control time possession, play really elite defense, keep other teams off the field, and get some turnovers. I think that's going to be the recipe for wins for the Saints. I don't think you're going to wake up at any point from now to the rest of the regular season. It's like, man, this is one of the more explosive offenses I've ever seen, man. These guys are just filling the stat sheet up. It's just not what they have. They're just too limited, I think, with the injuries on top of it and no weapons on the outside and at the tight end position. It's going to be tough for them to put up points, but if your defense can continue to bail you and back you out with turnovers and stops, I think that's going to be their only chance to really make this wild card push.
I tried, and this is a close-up before we get to Sharif here, I tried to be pretty measured but opinionated and forthright with my take on Friday that it was time to take a look at this COVID stuff and kind of make a decision what you wanted to do. And I didn't think that would be the case, but it has turned out to be the case. The NFL did announce over the weekend that they're only going to test players with symptoms to this point. They are done just with your Monday tests of everybody, your daily tests of unvaccinated, because it's just creating these massive amounts of people that can't be around. And as we talked about with the vaccination status and everyone's kind of feeling on their own personal health, I think it's time to start doing things a little bit differently. And the NFL decided to do it, which is, I think, a great thing. So until there's some sort of massive issue, I think we're moving forward and we're playing football. That's just the way it's going to go.
Yeah, I think for especially the young athletes, I've been waiting on it since the start of this thing. Like, is this going to take the life of like an athletic guy in the middle of their prime or something? I haven't seen it unless there's something someone can tell me. I have not seen that up to this point. I think most athletes has contracted the virus. They've maybe had their little hiccups or symptoms after, but for the most part, they all been fine and healthy. So I think you're dealing with 65, sometimes 70 guys in a locker room. And one person gets it. It's just the nature of the game. It's got to spread around. You got the contact tracing on the wristbands. You've been around everyone. Team meetings. It's just impossible to keep everyone away from each other. So if you're telling me if everyone's asymptomatic, they're feeling fine, and there's people coughing on each other and all that stuff, I think you can try people out there and try to play football games. I don't know what the backlash is going to be or what the repercussions are. I think we're kind of learning that as we go, but I think for right now, just to have watchable football on Sundays and Saturdays from here on out, I think this is the step they had to make.
Saints have put themselves in position to be right there in the discussion over the last month of the season. That's probably more than we would have thought a couple of weeks ago when all the injuries kind of derailed everything and they went through that ridiculous slide, the worst that they'd had in the Peyton era. So huge win last night. Hopefully you black and gold folks enjoyed it, and now you got a lot to look forward to over the next few weeks as the Saints try to make a playoff push. We'll go now to break. When we come back, Sharif Ishaq, WDSU, was over in Tampa for this one. He'll join us to talk Saints and Bucks and what's coming up moving forward. This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
T-Bobby.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns. making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Thanks, you're ready. Yardbirds up. Veggies in the window.
Barbecue guys, born to grill.
Pops, how many steaks you want?
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. The place is going to be convenient for you during that inconvenient time, and it's even more convenient now. Now you have 8 convenient locations, with the Bruley location just opening up. So go check them out online, patientplusuc.com, because remember, they are your place for your sniffles, for your colds, for your stitches, for your COVID tests. They have all that available over at Patient Plus. For more information, visit them at patientplusuc.com. Get in and get better.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information,
are presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap Saints-Bucks on Sunday Night Football and LSU Louisiana Tech in hoops. Join us for Monday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out on the open field on a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill. Still getting to LSU basketball from over the weekend up in Bossier City. That'll be at the top of the hour. But this hour, all NFL talk, and we have started with the New Orleans Saints. Huge Sunday night football win over in Tampa. Sharif Ishaq from WDSU was there. Sharif, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you.
No joke. I think we all are, but that was, it's not surprising that they played well on defense against Tampa. They've done that for 2 years, but to shut them out is shocking. You talk to the guys after the game. I mean, they're obviously not going to give you the game plan, but what is their reaction to what they've been able to do to this Tampa team?
I think to them, it's no surprise what they're able to do to Tom Brady defensively. I mean, if you're talking about the 4 regular season matchups with Tom Brady since he's been with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 13 sacks and 11 turnovers. I would say that's pretty good. I mean, that's how that's a recipe for winning games. Now, you wish it could have happened in the playoffs, but it's a different story. But they like I told you last week, they have some kind of Jedi mind control over Tom Brady in that offense. They just know how to play them well. They just have a recipe, and they went man to man on them for most of the game. And that's the thing. You go, and if you could do that against them man to man, listen, you're going to beat them. You're going to beat them quite soundly, and they did that last night. The pressure was good. Last week I told you they needed to have some pressure. They needed about a couple turnovers and a non-offensive touchdown. They didn't get that. They got 2 of the 3, and they were able to play complementary football on offense, although it wasn't the sexiest of offenses that we watched last night. It was, at points, it was pretty painful, but a win is a win.
We'll get to the offense because that's certainly a topic of discussion. But it was fun for me just to watch last night. That front, the defensive front, finally healthy. You got Davenport in there, Onyemata back from suspension, Cam Jordan playing like a 25-year-old Cam Jordan all of a sudden in the first half of that game. When they're all healthy, that's a pretty fun group to watch, and they were in Tom's kitchen every time he dropped back.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, man. If that defensive front can play like it did last night for the rest of the season, they're going to have a chance to go 10-7. That's the key with them. Man. The key going against a Tom Brady-led offense is you got to get to him. You got to rattle him a little bit. You got to force him to make some passes that he's maybe not comfortable making, and you saw quite a few of those last night. And getting the ball out quick on top of the man-on-man defense, I just don't think Tom Brady likes playing that type of defense like the Saints because they just don't allow him to beat Tom Brady, the guy who can throw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, the guy who leads the NFL's highest scoring offense. It starts up front. As cliche as it is to have Cam Jordan now with 100.5 sacks for his career, to have him get going, that was the key last night. I think Lance and I said it post-game. He was the key up front, but also having a healthy C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He was in Tom Brady's head all night long. And you saw him just smiling and laughing after that one play because that's like his Super Bowl, man. He loves to go against Tom Brady, man. And he'll talk the talk and he'll walk the walk when it comes to going against Tom Brady.
As awesome as it was to watch that Saints defense last night, talk about the L's of the offense, and do you think they can lift their play up for their stretch run, especially with all the offensive linemen being out?
I think that they're going to need to. At some point in time, they're going to eventually need to have some kind of a better game plan for that offense. That offense wasn't pretty last night, man. Just watching, Taysom Hill trying to throw the ball. He had a couple good passes. His best pass, maybe the best pass he's thrown was the one to Cowboys. He passed early in the game. He threw a couple of deep passes, but the one when he hit him in stride, I was like, all right, that's probably the best pass I've seen him ever throw since he became the quarterback. But the offense can't sustain success without having any resemblance of an offense. And yes, that Tampa Bay defense is, solid. They have Levante David and Devin White, but man, it just, at times, I think Taysom was just missing passes. And, he missed Kamara a few times out of the backfield. He missed Adam Prentice in the fourth quarter. He was wide open on the wheel route. It's just, he's got to see those things. And it's got to make some better passes. But, they need to have the offense needs to have a better showing than that. I mean, Kamara having 31 total yards, Taysom 154 passing yards. That's not going to get the job done the final 3 games of the season if they want to make a playoff push.
I didn't think anyone else noticed that Prentice wheel route. I actually saw that and rewound it. My wife's sitting there laid up 9 months pregnant going, what are you doing? I said, I think he just missed a guy with no one on him, and I rewound it. He ran that wheel route right out of the backfield. There was just nobody there. He just nothing but green grass, and Taysom didn't even throw him the ball. But Sharif, I wanted to I'll ask you to guess here. Just guess. What do you think is a realistic time frame for Armstead and Ramczyk? Do you think that both guys will return during the regular season?
I'm a little confused by Teron Armstead. He played against the Jets, and he missed this game. Ramczyk, it looked like he was getting back a few weeks ago. He, practiced for a day, and then he went to DNP the next 2 days, and he has been a DNP ever since then. So I'm a little confused by his knee injury. I wonder if it's more severe than we thought. I wonder if he had like a scope that we don't know about. I would have put him on IR. I mean, he's already missed 4 games, but now you can't put him on IR because then he'd have to miss 3 additional games. Maybe he's getting close. It's just confusing. Now we're not going to be able to go watch any of the practices because of the new COVID protocols. So we're not going to know. We're not going to know until we actually see the injury reports. Can't even go through the walkthroughs. So that's going to be it's going to be a guessing game, man. I told you last week, I thought maybe this week against the Buccaneers game, he would maybe be back and be ready to go. So maybe this week they get a long week, get an extra day before the Monday night game, and if he can at least show up as a limited on Thursday's practice report, maybe that's a good sign to come. But Teron Armstead's the one that also confuses me because he plays and doesn't play, plays and doesn't play. So I mean, the offensive line did a pretty decent job without those 2 guys, but certainly could use them to give Taysom a little bit more time back there.
Talk about Marcus Davenport and Cameron Jordan lining up on the same side, especially on pass downs. Did you like that, and do you think that's something Dennis Allen is going to implement for the rest of the season?
I think Tom Brady didn't like it, but Dennis Allen and the Saints defense love it. I think that was wreaking havoc on that offensive line all night long and getting pressures, not just the 4 sacks, but pressures and having Brady getting rushed. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see it a little bit more with quarterbacks not like Tua. Tua is going to be able to move the pocket. He's going to scramble. Those are the type of quarterbacks that give the Saints trouble. You get away with that with the Tom Brady's, but I wonder if they are going to have a little bit better of a game plan for Tua. He does throw the ball to the other team quite a bit, and they're on a 6-game winning streak. But last night, that was a perfect game plan. You put those 2 guys on the same side, I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do in Tampa Bay. They had no idea how to stop it.
Yeah, that's a good Tampa Bay offensive front, and they just had no chance against the Saints. You were talking about the Saints DBs playing one-on-one. There wasn't a lot of tricky blitzing going on either. The Saints front 4 was just getting after them and whipping them. All right, Sharif, is this a playoff team?
You laughed at me last week.
I did. I laughed at you hard.
I told you that this team, if they stole that win against the Buccaneers, they're going to have a real great chance to get into the playoffs. Yeah, defensively, 100% a playoff team, but offensively, man, it can't continue at this pace if they want to get in. Yeah, I'm going to say yes, they are an playoff team. I think at some point that offense is going to click and it's going to improve once you get one or both of those tackles back.
Sharif, we appreciate some time. Glad you made it on back to NOLA. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, wait. I'm still waiting. I'm still in Tampa Bay hanging out. I'll be back.
Still
soon.
in Tampa? It's like 1:30 in the afternoon. Come home.
Delays, man. Don't blame me. I don't fly planes. These are delays.
Well, grab a beer in the airport. It's a work day.
Will do, man.
All right, Sharif Ishaq, WDSU over there in Tampa, Florida. Yeah, I did. I laughed at him last week when and look, we had Luke come on, and he said he thought they could get it done too, and I just had no confidence that would be the case. And then, of course, they throw a bagel up against Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little homer bias. I get poked fun at for a little homer bias all the time, but hey, sometimes a homer bias leads you in the right direction, and that's where the Saints are headed right now. They're
sure
2 wins.
Sure does.
2 wins in the win column. They got to keep this thing rolling. Let's see how they finish this thing out.
When we come back to finish out hour number 1, something I thought I would never see in the NFL, we saw yesterday. I'll tell you what, next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
All right, I've been telling you for 2 weeks, if you've been lazy and haven't done it, you need to take care of things. Brake Medics. You can go to brakemedics.com. If you're going to be traveling with your family for the Christmas holiday, you need to make sure that your car is ready to do that. And Brake Medics can help you. They do brake repair anywhere. That means at your home, at your place of work. All you got to do is go to brakemedics.com and request a quote and schedule a time.
Yeah, all you got to do is go to brakemedics.com for your free quote today. You log into their website. You put in your make, year, and model of your vehicle, and whatever brake symptoms your vehicle may be dealing with at the time, they'll have all those options on the website. You put your name, email, and phone number, and they will get back with you with a free quote today at brakemedics.com.
You already know the convenience can't be beat because you don't have to get in traffic and go sit in a waiting room for 4 hours while they try to fix your brakes. They also can't be beat on price either. Look, for most vehicles, you can get a single axle replaced for only $199. And for most cars, you can do both front and rear for $379. That is their special opening holiday price. And it's not just pads. You got New pads, new rotors, all the way around. And with it, you get a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide guarantee. So go to BrakeMedics.com. Check them out. It's BrakeMedics at BrakeMedics.com. We make house calls.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rufino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs.
By Bet Rivers, we're live at Rouge Creole in Perkins Row, recapping all of the college and NFL action from the weekend on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I mean, this past weekend has just given us maybe the biggest upset in the history of NFL football. Do you agree?
It's up there. I don't know. It's hard. I don't want to be prisoner of the moment, but that was one for the ages there. That was just a bad performance by the Cards.
You thought I was talking about Cardinals-Lions.
Oh, who are you
I
talking?
was not talking about Cardinals-Lions. I was talking about what just happened about 5 hours ago, which may be the biggest upset in NFL history. Of course, the Colts took it to the Patriots on Saturday. They were up 20-0, won the game very comfortably, ran it on them. Taylor got going, hit a big play at the end to ice it, and the Colts win the game. Bill Belichick takes the stand, does what he always does, answered in 3 or 4 words every time, said, "Oh, we didn't play well. We didn't play well. Everything could have been better. It was terrible." And he just, I mean, every answer he gave was for, like, "Oh, coach, talk about it." Wasn't good enough. And that's it. So he just gave little short Bill Belichick answers like he always does. No respect for the guys who actually need to cover the team, need a little bit of a quote, need to get something going. Just they're throwing the interview process away. He took the podium today. He apologized.
Oh, man.
I'll just start off here. Look, fellas, I apologize if, I seemed like I was a little short with you after the game. Obviously a frustrating game. Down 20-0, didn't do anything well enough. I mean, there isn't really much to say at that point without watching the film. Clearly, we had problems in every area. So, there was no simple answer. And, every play could have been better. Every area of coaching could have been better. Every area of playing could have been better. And any of that would have helped. So, not really trying to be short, but honestly, there wasn't too much to say. I don't know that there's a whole lot more to say now, but it's not your fault. That was a frustrating game.
Oh, man. That's Bill.
It's not your fault.
That's Bill, man. That's Bill. If I've ever seen him, there's still not much to say. I mean, there's nothing else. Bill's amazing.
He wasn't trying to be short. He was answering in 4-word sentences on Saturday. I got a kick out of that. Look, I side with sports writers a fair amount. Sometimes they're totally out of line, and I understand that. I mean, there was somebody that was covering. Oh, who was in the snow a couple of weeks ago where they didn't? Who did the Patriots beat where they didn't throw a pass barely?
Oh, the Bills.
Okay, the Bills. A sports writer jumped up and goes, "I mean, is that embarrassing to lose a game?" And the players are like, "Are you serious? Like that's indefensible. You can't say that." But when the guys are asking questions and Bill won't give them an answer, like that makes the sports writer's job really hard. And I understand that people who listen to this show are going to side with the 7 Super Bowl coach or 6 Super Bowl coach or whatever he is over Joe sports writer who's, hammering out a column, whatever. But you do need some color and some quotes and something interesting at times from coaches. And they don't have to be a television star, but to get up there and have a reasonable question and the answer being, we just didn't play well enough. Like, that makes your job a little bit harder. Like, people would much rather hear a quote from a player or a coach than a sports writer try to hammer something out. It's more interesting because they're more interesting people than the sports writer. So I applaud Bill for coming to the stage and apologizing. Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot from Bill. Look, this is the first time I played football for a very long time, since I was 8 years old. Bill is the only coach, instead of showing highlights from practice, the guy is showing the highlights from guys getting answered questions in the locker room like, this is great. This is what we need right here. This is amazing. Guys just deflecting the questions, guys not answering the questions at all. He's showing a highlight reel of guys doing that.
That's incredible.
So I know that's who he is. That completely shocked me. I didn't think he would ever get to the day where he's apologizing, but I guess they're feeling good. The film probably wasn't as bad as he thought. That's always with Bill I learned. Like, if he's really, really happy there's something going wrong, and if he's, downplaying it, then he's probably feeling good. So I think he's feeling good about the team. He's probably watched that film, and being down 20-0, they made it a game, and Taylor bust that run. But if you stop Taylor there, you give yourself a chance to win. So I'm sure he's looking at it from that front like, man, we played terrible, but we still had a chance to win that game.
Fire Scona is in the Bayou Ford chat, and I think I kind of get a sense of where his allegiances lie based on the username, but says there are no worse people in the world than people that do sports media. And that means a lot, Fire Scona. I appreciate that very much. Saying that I'm the worst person in the world.
Oh, man. There's really some bad people out there, but I don't know.
There's got to be somebody worse. I don't know all the people, so I can't say anything definitively, but I feel like there's got to be someone worse than a sports media person.
Yeah, I could think of a lot of stuff off the top of my head. Sports media, I guess I'm throwing in that bunch now, too. Come on, Fire Scona, what are we doing?
But again, I thought that was just fascinating, and it was classic Belichick, and it makes me cranky when Popovich and Belichick and those guys do it, and I understand that there's a little bit of a shtick to it, and there's a little bit of I don't gain any advantage from talking to the media, but there's a professional courtesy there that should be extended. And look, plenty of times sports media people step out of bounds, and they deserve to be chastised for that. But in this instance, just some harmless questions after you lose a football game. Let's do a little bit better with answering the questions. But at this point, you're not going to teach an old dog new tricks, so he's going to be who he is. But that story you tell about him saying guys that are saying nothing to the media. That's exactly what we need. That is some classic stuff. I'd really like. We had Mike Reese on a few weeks ago when the Saints played the Patriots. I'd really like to get his thoughts on that. I mean,
I got it.
Please don't tell them anything.
Yeah, no, it's golden, man. I was blown away by that. I'm still blown away. Like, we had a full day at practice. He didn't give a crap about that. He's breaking down the interviews with the players. It's golden. That's classic Bill, man. God love him.
Still got a lot to get to in hour number 2. We will start things off with LSU and Louisiana Tech basketball. I had a rather interesting weekend, specifically the trip up there to Shreveport. And my experience of going to the game and what we saw on the floor, I think is noteworthy as the Tigers move to 11-0. They are now one of 6 teams in the country that is unbeaten. San Francisco lost this past weekend, so LSU one of 6 unbeaten. If you missed anything in the first hour, it'll all be on demand at 1045ESPN.com. Opened with Saints-Bucks recap and then moved on to where the Saints playoff thoughts may lie right now. Sharif Ishaq joined us at 12:30. Appreciate him for doing that. We'll take a look at some SEC bowl matchups here. We haven't done that yet, so we'll do that in the second hour. But we're starting with a little bit of hoops with LSU and Louisiana Tech. So come back with us here for the second hour of Hunt and Hill. We've still got a ton to get to. So appreciate y'all for hanging out with us on a Monday edition. We'll take a time out. Come back, hour 2 on a Monday coming right at you. It's Hunt and Hill on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
They now have 8 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. And if you're looking for that COVID test for holiday travel, or you have a holiday event coming up, they're the place for you, as well as a flu shot. It's starting to creep up here during flu season, so if you need that shot, make sure you get that. They now have some available through December. You can find more information on their website, patientplusuc.com. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
1 hour down. Fast moving Monday. Hunt and Hill. All right, I went up to Shrevesburg, the hometown, on Saturday for LSU and Louisiana Tech. The wife is very, very pregnant. Preferred that I not spend more than one night away, so decided to get up Saturday morning, go. Game was at 6 o'clock. We'd come back on Sunday morning. So I wake up Saturday, and I get ready to roll, hit the road. Headed north to Shreveport. I stop off for the boudin balls we talked about. Enjoyed some delicious boudin balls at 8 o'clock in the morning from Billy's in Crotch Springs. And I got up on I-49, got about 20 miles northbound on I-49, and realized that I had left something in Baton Rouge that absolutely had to go to Shreveport. So we turned a solid 3.5-hour drive into a 6-hour drive, which was very, very sad. Nothing just sadder than turning around, going south on 49, and then all the way back down 190, knowing you're backing up. Like you're not making any progress. And I made sure to look where I had stopped and turned around. And it took me from the time I stopped and turned around, went back to the house, got what I needed, and then got back on the road and got back to that point where I stopped, was 3 hours. It was very sad.
You can cover a lot of ground in 3 hours, especially not going in circles. So that definitely must have been
such
brutal.
a sad state of affairs. So I got up there, and we go to the game. And I want to say this. I said this on my podcast, Hoops with Hunt, which you can find 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. This was a really cool thing for the people of North Louisiana. A lot of Monroe people made the drive over. Of course, a lot from Ruston came over, and then Shreveport and Bossier as well, and the surrounding area. And I think this is a little bit hard for people who are from South Louisiana, specifically Baton Rouge, that listen to this radio station because of where they're from and what their experience is in taking in LSU sports. But this is coming from a guy, me, who, before the SEC Network was around, I spent countless Tuesday nights, Friday nights in middle school, huddled around my Sony boombox, listening to KWKH, listening to Jim Hawthorne and Kevin Ford, or Jim Hawthorne and Charles Sandegriff. That's the only way you could get LSU sports. Like, it wasn't realistic for us to drive down to a basketball game on a Saturday to see a 2-hour basketball game against Mississippi State. Like, we watched LSU on TV or listen to it on the radio. You don't get to see the Tigers in person all that often in baseball or basketball. Now, football, you make a weekend out of it. Everybody drives down. Like, a lot of people go down to football games. But basketball and baseball, you don't see a lot of. So when LSU comes to North Louisiana, it's a big deal for the people in North Louisiana to be able to go see it. And, look, the Brookshire's Grocery Arena is not Madison Square Garden. And this is not, But it was a cool little environment in there on Saturday. They built this arena in Bossier. It's fairly nice. And when they've had George Strait in there, the Eagles have played in there. Like, they've had some really big acts. They can fill that thing up. But when something like this, or the Mudbugs hockey, or whatever it is, like, you're not going to fill it up. So they take these huge curtains and drape them down the upper decks to, like, block out. And if you're not, like, really paying attention, it does a pretty good job of kind of making it look like it's a one-story, like, arena. And the bottom bowl for this game was probably 90% full. Like, it was good. And I think they had somewhere in the neighborhood of 7,000 people, and Tech had a nice little showing. I think it was probably 70-30 LSU, 65-35 LSU, And it created a really nice environment. Tech got off to that really fast start, and LSU was able to fight back and win the game. And we'll get into kind of everything we saw. But I think for me, just the northern part of the state, which does love LSU, for all the crap we get for not being from South Louisiana and being a different part of the country and being Cowboys fans and having terrible food and all this kind of stuff. Like, they do love LSU up there, and it was a really nice turnout and a really cool environment on a Saturday night.
Yeah, for me, it looked like it was 80 to 90% just watching on TV. It seemed like that place was buzzing with LSU fans, especially in the second half when they started panning into the crowd. Saw a lot of purple in that crowd, so don't know how much La Tech faithful were in there, but I think for LSU, I think that's why you schedule that game there, to give the fans of North Louisiana an opportunity to watch the Tigers in person, especially, the holiday season when it's really hard to travel and do things of that nature. So it was a great atmosphere. I think a great game, actually. I think we've seen this Tiger team time and time again not really play as well as they could in the first half, but you see that defense just dominate in the second half.
Yeah, another bad start. Tech comes out. They hit 2 late shot clock threes. Archibald buried a couple late shot clock threes. He's a heck of a player. LSU had 4 turnovers before they made a shot. It's 11-0 before you can really blink, and Pitson finally hits the 3 to cut that off. But and then Tech kind of held LSU off for the entirety of the first half. It got as high as 13, got as low as 6, but it was really around 10, kind of hovering the entire time. And Tech, I thought, did a really good job of going slow, being deliberate, not turning the ball over too much against LSU, and the Tigers just couldn't make shots. Some of the shots were good shots, some of them were not, but it was just a brutal offensive effort from LSU. 2 of 10 from 3 in the first half, shot 29% from the floor. You only made consecutive shots 1 time in the first half. You had 7 turnovers, only 2 assists, and you weren't able to create some easy offense with your defense. You did force 6 turnovers, which isn't a ton, only got 6 points off of them. And in the first half, LSU was just really clunky on offense.
Yeah, it's just kind of what drives Coach Wade crazy, especially on the offensive side. Just turnovers, not getting good looks at the goal, not running your sets, not running the offense at a high enough level, and letting a La Tech team who didn't have much to lose in that game really play at a high level and gain a lot of confidence. I wasn't too worried because I've seen this team do that, but I just knew if La Tech kind of extended that lead any more than they did, then it probably could get out of hand. You kind of saw them kind of slow them down and not really blow that lead up to 20 or something crazy like that. So I think for this offense, you got to continue, Coach Wade. I don't know if it's going to be suicides, sprints, or whatever it is, to just get this team settled down, especially early on in games, because if you can start out, give yourself some of these, 9, 10-point leads, and with the defense you have to back it, you're going to start pulling away from teams, especially teams at the La Tech level. So just tough first half, I think, on the offensively especially, but I think you kind of saw what makes it seem great, especially down the stretch. That defense is really, really puts a lot of pressure on people, and I think it really fatigued La Tech. They just looked so tired in that second half. They just, they couldn't really get any offense going. It was just so stale. They were just standing around the 3-point line, and that's exactly where you want to be if you're LSU defense.
Yeah, I guess we can jump to that because that was the biggest theme of my podcast this morning, was that I can't say this definitively, but you can connect dots and feel pretty comfortable that you're on the right track at least. LSU is closing these games against some of these teams on these ferocious runs and burying teams. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that LSU puts so much pressure on you on defense. You have to work so hard, handling the ball 94 feet, dealing with all the switches, and LSU has a rotation where they're not overextending themselves. And if you look at this in totality, LSU finishes the game on a 14-2 run, and that included a 9-0 run at the end. Tech made 1 of their last 12 field goals, and LSU made 5 of their last 8. And if you look at Tech's ball handlers, Willis played 35 minutes, Archibald played 35 minutes, and Kobe Williams played 35 minutes. That's a lot of time to handle the ball against that type of pressure. And it would lead you to being a little bit tired late in the game. Then look at some of the guys that made plays for LSU late. You, of course, had Eason hit the huge 3. Eason gets that huge and 1 with a minute to go. He has that baseline drive with the reverse slam. Tari Eason, for the game, played 28 minutes. You look at a huge a huge drive and dunk that Brandon Murray had. He played 25 minutes. They just have fresher legs Not to mention they played less minutes, but they've also been doing it against – they hadn't been having to deal with that LSU defense that Tech has. So LSU's got a rotation that's good, and they're just wearing guys out. And I think that it's very likely that when you look at the way that LSU's finishing these games, that teams are just fatigued.
Yeah, they are. They just look so tired. And I think for them, they couldn't even get into their sets. And I think that's what you do. I think that's why you implement the switch, because it forces you to ISO. It forces you to break someone off the dribble. I know they did get a couple good looks from breaking us down and kicking it to the corner, but for the fourth quarter, not fourth quarter, the end of the second half, I think those looks start going away. There was really just a lot of contested layups at the rim that weren't falling for La Tech, and those are the shots you want to take, get opponents to take as a defense, just all contested. I think they did a really good job on the defensive rebounding side, especially at the end of that game, of just not allowing them to get other opportunities. I know Lofton had his little putback, but for the most part, I think we did a great job at the end of the game of, shutting their offensive possessions down, getting good looks on our end. I think you saw Easton. I've been saying that for a couple of weeks now. I think he's kind of graduated to being kind of the best player on the team. I thought it'd be no doubt, no shot. It's days all day long, but I think the production I've been seeing from Easton on both sides of the floor, rebounding, attacking the basket. He hit that three. I know it grazed the rim and went in, but he's doing it all, and that's exactly the type of play you need for this LSU basketball team.
And there's a lot being made of Easton needs to start. He's the best player on the team. He's got to start. And I hear you. And if they decided to start him on Wednesday, I wouldn't throw a fit. But to the point that we're making here, he did play 28 minutes, which is a significant amount. He played more than Brandon Murray played. He played more than Mwani Wilkinson played. He played more than Efton Reed played. So it's not like his minutes are being cut. And he's playing so well at the end of this game. His plus minus in a game that LSU won by 9 was plus 21. The minutes they're getting out of him are good right now. And so I don't know if there's a great reason to change it up just because you think, well, he's the best player, he needs to be out there for the opening tip-off. Now, you could look at me and say, well, they wouldn't get down 11-0 if your best player wasn't out there. And I don't have a great rebuttal to that. I can't tell you that's a stupid thing to say, but I like the way that things are moving right now, and I think that he's done a good job playing the role that he's playing. I thought that Tech did a pretty poor job of trying to get Junior Lofton involved. He was 6 of 9 from the floor, which is really good, but he needs to shoot 17 times for that team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this. It's more. I wouldn't even give that to La Tech's fault. I just think Coach Wade's strategy on opposing bigs, especially ones who love to get it on the low block, he just double teams them. Yeah. As soon as you get the ball there, you're getting double teamed. We're forcing you to throw it across court. He had some turnovers from those positions, and that's what he wants to do. He's not going to let your big man just take 4 or 5 dribbles on the block. Take their time. Get a shot off that they like. I just saw guys digging the post out, forcing him to get rid of the ball, and really making it tough for him to get to the spots he normally gets to. And I love that. It kind of coincides with our defensive rotations and how we play on defense, just scrambling defense, making you make really tough passes and not allowing their bigs to get easy shots at the rim. So as much as I would have loved for, to see Lofton, especially if you're a La Tech fan, get those touches, get those looks, it was very tough because they're digging the post out, they're double teaming, they're hedging, and they're making you make tough passes across the court. So I don't think that was going to be a viable option for them in that game.
It just LSU, kind of steps over a landmine there. It's a team that was very hungry to play you. A good environment, a lot of energy, and a quality basketball team. Tech's going to win over 20 games, again, as they've done 5 of the last 6 years under Eric Conkle, and you get that win. So, Lipscomb is not great. That's a team that has got some bad losses this year. They've been outclassed on a number of occasions. LSU should win the game on Wednesday. You got to play it. You got to go do it. But they should win on Wednesday, and that sets you up undefeated. And your net right now is number 3 in the nation. You're ranked number 17 in the country. Your strength of schedule is not very good, but the net is going to be strong because your efficiency numbers are off the charts, and the teams you're beating are winning a lot of games. Now, they're not going to jack up your strength of schedule too much because you don't have a ton of meat behind those wins, but they are winning a lot of games. So you're in a good spot. You're in as good a spot as you can be, and this is a team, and Jeremy, I've talked about this on my podcast a lot, they've always tripped up in some of these games. VCU beat them. Utah State beat them. Last year, St. Louis got them. When they've played some of these good mid-major teams, they've gotten tripped up over the past few years in the Will Wade era, and so it's nice to see at this point it doesn't appear that that's going to happen. You got 2 more non-conference games. You got Lipscomb, and then you got to play TCU. But those aren't great basketball teams at this point. LSU should be okay. So again, you're ranked 17th in the country. Your net's strong at number 3. Just got to keep winning basketball games, and it was nice to Nice to see the Tigers play a really good second half, put Tech away, and give the people of North Louisiana a really nice night there in the SAC, as they're calling it, Brookshire's Grocery Arena, Brookshire's Grocery Arena over there in SAC. So that was good. Tigers, one of 6 teams now remaining in college basketball that are undefeated after San Francisco took it on the chin over the weekend. So, again, my podcast, Hoops with Hunt, you can catch it every single morning. You can also catch us right here talking about most of the same topics that I broach on the podcast. But whatever way you want to consume things, that is all up to you. 45 minutes left to go on this Monday edition. We'll come back, shift gears back to the NFL. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Auctioner Health.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. The place is going to be convenient for you during that inconvenient time, and it's even more convenient now. Now you have 8 convenient locations, with the Bruley location just opening up. So go check them out online, patientplusuc.com, because remember, they are your place for your sniffles, for your colds, for your stitches, for your COVID tests. They have all that available over at Patient Plus. For more information, visit them at patientplusuc.com. Get in and get better.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rafino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile power.
Well, Saints, playoffs, is it back on? Coach Mulkey live from the Palm Beach Invitational. and a new OTB mailbag. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
What do you have to say about the Lions-Cardinals game? You just putting the panic button for the Cardinals?
Not a good day for me, man. Kyler, I think he had like 8 fantasy points for me. Just a tough one, man. I was buzzing on the Cardinals too. And with D-Hop out though, that team's a different team, especially on the offensive side. So that was a tough one.
I mean, obviously it's massive in terms of home field advantage and that type of thing, but do you think it's an indication of more with the Cardinals, or you get Nuke back and it's all fine?
I mean, you get Nuke back, yeah, it helps that offense out a ton because, Kyler's looking for Nuke. He's looking for him as much as he can, and I think it opens up the other weapons, just gives him that security blanket. Without that security blanket, Kyler has to sit back on his reads a little longer, give him the D-line a little more time to get after him, and their defense, just you let that bad Lions offense without their best player to me and DeAndre Swift, their running back, you let them have Jared Goff have one of his best games all year. That's not tuning up for what you want to see. I know they're trying to get J.J. Watt back, which I think helps with a little bit inside that line, and they're waiting for DeAndre to get back. But without those two players, I think that team is exponentially different. So it's tough, but I think they definitely ruined a great opportunity for them to be the 1 seed.
Scary situation there with Teddy Bridgewater, who was out like a light there on the deck for the Broncos, and he had to obviously leave the game. Bengals do enough to win 15-10 and keep their playoff hopes alive, and then you turn around and the Ravens can't get it done. And we'll talk about that game in a second, but a good win for the Bengals.
Yeah, definitely a good win. Not the prettiest of wins. My boy Chase didn't have a day. I was checking him out on my fantasy team. He couldn't have a day, but I think we've said that this Bengals team just up and down all year. Some really, really heart-wrenching losses, but you find a way to go on the road, you go into that altitude, you find a way to get a win. Sometimes on the road, you just want to get out there alive with a win, and that's exactly what they did. So I think for them, they're still a great position to win their division still, especially with everyone kind of being bunched in there right there with the Ravens losing back-to-back weeks. That they're right where they want to be, and I think Joey B is going to have a great opportunity to finish the season out strong.
I thought Huntley played great for the Ravens. I was really impressed. That was as much of them as I've watched this year because that was such a good game late. And they couldn't deal with him. He was dropping back. He was making some throws. If he didn't have it, he was taking off and running and making plays there. And they had it right on their racket. I liked the decision to go for 2 there to try to win the game.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you got Aaron Rodgers on the other sideline and you saw the way he kind of started heating up and cooking with all your secondary being out, I'm not upset at that. I think if that was an opportunity, if you don't get that 2, then you're out of the playoffs. You're just totally out of it. And I probably don't like that decision. But for the Ravens, they still have everything in front of them. Even, with losing these 2 games, we're going for 2. They still can win the division. They still can, make the playoffs. So I think you got to be aggressive. You got to go for it. And a lot of people are saying Huntley just looks like the better passer out of him and Lamar Jackson, which is saying a mouthful. But I think for the Ravens, they're still all Action Jackson. They're still Lamar's team. But Huntley's did a phenomenal job these past few weeks filling in and providing some relief for Lamar.
Yeah, I'm not going there and saying he's better than Lamar, but I do think that he has some of the same skills Lamar has, so you don't have to totally change everything you're trying to do when he goes out there. Now, I did love the decision to go for 2 there to try to take the lead. I hated the play call. I thought it was ridiculous to roll him out. So you're sending everyone headed his direction, and he has to run that way. And then you've only got really just Andrews in the route. I mean, I realize there was a guy that was kind of open in the back of the end zone, and I guess if his eyes turn that way, you may see it. But I would either just run it or just get him in the gun and leave him in the pocket so that if he does scramble, they can't know where he's going to go, and he's got a better chance to beat him to the end zone to get 2.5 yards. I thought just trying to throw the ball to a one-on-one spot with your tight end there was just – it limited so many of the things you could do, and I thought it was a really poor decision.
Yeah, I think a lot of those plays, I'd rather a receiver in that position instead of your tight end who can, probably get a little more separation, get there a little faster, because those type of plays are all timing based, especially when you get your quarterback on the edge. You limit yourself. You're cutting off a whole side of the field and giving yourself one option. If that option isn't open, then you're kind of screwed in that situation. So I'm not I don't hate the play call, but I just think you got to put – and I know Andrew's probably their best receiving weapon to this point, but I think for me, you got to put a receiver in that position, they can get separated a little quicker, and then you can give your quarterback a easier option to throw that ball in there.
As you look at playoff implications and the way that things went, the Steelers just hanging around with that win. Obviously Tennessee is in a dogfight with the Colts, who have just started ripping off some wins, and that division's gotten closer than we thought it was going to be. The Steelers still technically in last, but still technically in it too.
Yeah, they technically are, man. They just been winning some really ugly football. Their offense has not looked well. Their defense starts out terrible in most games, and they give up these huge leads, and somehow they find themselves in a lot of games in the fourth quarter. Just a very, very tough physical Pittsburgh Steelers football team, and I think you got to put T.J. Watt in the conversation for Player of the Year. Yeah. Definitely defensive MVP with 17 sacks to this point. He's going to give himself a chance to get 20, which we haven't seen in a long time. So the Steelers are right there, but I don't know if they're going to get it because their offense is just too inconsistent for my liking.
So we're going to do a little bit of mock draft talk in the next segment because I think I'm very fascinated with what I just saw as a mock to the Saints and want to get your thoughts on that before we get to some SEC Bowl talk. But what was really an understated development yesterday that no one cares about because we're looking at the playoff standings and who's here, who's looking at home field, who's going to win this. Oh, wait. The number one pick duel really got shaken up yesterday because obviously the Lions beat the Cardinals, which you could have never imagined, and then the Texans and Jaguars played, and the Texans beat them. The Jaguars are just beyond atrocious. But Jacksonville's sitting here at 2-12. The Texans are 3-11, and then you look at the Lions, who are now 2-11-1. So, as we sit here right now, Jacksonville is the worst record in football. And we thought the Lions kind of had that thing on lock there for a bit. Now the Jags have the Jets coming up. Then they play the Patriots and Colts, where you figure they don't have much of a chance. So if they can lose to the Jets, all of a sudden we got another first overall pick going to Jacksonville, baby.
Yeah, back-to-back years, man. Look, maybe it wasn't Urban's fault. Man, I'm kidding. Jacksonville. I've said it from the start of the year. That's just a bad roster, just from top to bottom. There's a couple guys I think could start on some other teams, but for the most part, you look at every position on that roster, it's guys who wouldn't start elsewhere. It's just not very good, and that's why they are in the position that they are in right now with getting back-to-back number one overall picks. Just bad football to watch. It's easy to point the finger at one thing, but I think that they're just dealing with a complete total rebuild, and when that's going on, you're going to lose a lot of football games on the way, and that's exactly what they've been doing all season long.
I said we would wait to do the mock draft, but why don't we just dive into it now since we're talking about the first overall pick? Because I'm fascinated by what CBS Sports has the Saints doing here. First of all, they have Aiden Hutchinson going 1 to the Jaguars, which I found very interesting, saying they would take him over Kayvon Thibodeau. But as you roll through, Stingley to the Lions at number 5, which was interesting. But as you keep scrolling down, they have Matt Corral as the first quarterback off the board at the 9th pick. And then as you keep rolling down, the Saints pop up here at the 19th selection, and they've got him taking Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty. You shake your head.
No. Do not
Why?
do it. I don't like that. I could be wrong. I would be the first one to come up here and tell you I was totally off on this, but I don't like guys who turn it over that much, man. I think it's so much harder. I think a guy who for me, I think he's looking to use his legs first. I watched that Ole Miss game. I picked the Liberty to cover in that one, and I was just not impressed. I know he had a little Heisman buzz preseason, all that stuff. That's all fine and dandy, but I think for the Saints in that pro-style offense that they run, we see what they're looking like right now with the college quarterback, air quotation marks, in that offense. It just doesn't look good. I think Malik Willis probably be Taysom Hill 2.0. I think they're very similar comps, and if you compare their style of play, I would much rather see a guy that can throw it accurately from the pocket. If they can use their legs on top of that, that'd be amazing. But I don't know. I don't know if I love that pick, especially a first round. Now, if you're telling me 3rd or 4th round, you're going that way, yeah, I wouldn't be upset with that. But first round, it's a little too rich for my blood.
We were looking at this, and the Saints had a chance if they were going to lose out as of 2 weeks ago. Maybe you could creep into the top 6 or 7 in the draft and really put your eyes on a quarterback. And at this point, now you got to try to get into the playoffs. So, they were doing that anyway. But if you're a fan, you're thinking we got a chance to get into the playoffs and have some fun there. But it drives you deep into that first round where the quarterback may not be available, and the Saints are so up in the air as to what they want to do on quarterback. It makes things very interesting. And as you continue to look at mock drafts, I think you're going to continue to see quarterbacks mocked to the Saints because it makes too much sense. It's so similar to that New England arc where they had Tom, took 1 year to dip without him, took a quarterback. Now they're right back at the top of the division and humming along. So there's just going to be a lot of people that I think see those two in the same light.
Yeah, I think it's easy, but I think that's an issue that they're going to have to deal with anyway. I think especially with Jameis coming off that serious injury, you don't know how soon back you're going to get him. He's going to miss all of OTAs, all of camp, and you're going to be hoping that, a guy on a 1 year deal, most likely he's going to be a 1 year deal, especially coming off that injury. Is going to be ready for the season, ready for training camp. I don't know. I feel like that you got to go quarterback at some point, whether you go first or second round. But I think, especially not knowing what you're going to have from Ian Book, I think that's the direction a lot of people are going to see the Saints going in. I think in this draft class, though, I wouldn't go that high with a quarterback. I don't think I would point to any guy like, man, that kid is going to be a different thing. No, they could be. I'm sure there'll be a couple quarterbacks from this draft that are going to have good NFL careers, but I just can't point to that one guy where it's just lights out and I just know without a shadow of a doubt he's going to be a dude. He's going to be a guy. So I don't know if I would go that high with a pick. For me, I think you can find that same talent probably in the second or third round, a guy that you can put in the system and try to grow and develop. But I don't really see a first-round quarterback this year.
As I look at this mock draft from CBS, Malik Willis to the Saints at 19, Kenny Pickett to the Steelers from Pitt at number 16, which I found interesting. And then you got to go to Matt Corral at number 9 for your first quarterback off the board. You have them going to the Falcons, which I think is pretty interesting considering that the Falcons have a quarterback. A little older, but they've got one. So that's just a look at this mock draft. And obviously everything flips on its head with the Saints as we were thinking about draft picks 2 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden we're looking at the 7th seed and seeing if they can sneak their way into the playoffs. That would be more fun, personally, to talk about a playoff team as opposed to have to wait to see who the Saints draft. Potentially, could it be a quarterback? Take a timeout, come back with more. It's Hunt and Hill.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
It's Hunt and Hill. Our opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care. It's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Recap the football weekend, including the Sean Payton-led Saints taking on the Bucs and the first set of bowl games, plus a recap of the first round of the fantasy football playoffs. Early line, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Things have been moving pretty quickly around here in terms of, signing day and coaching hires and opt-outs and all that kind of stuff. So we haven't spent a lot of time on the bowl slate. Southeastern Conference got everybody in but Vanderbilt. So there's going to be a lot of SEC football coming over the next 3 weeks. Incidentally, LSU's game will be the last of the scheduled bowl games. Of course, if Alabama or Georgia or either one are to win their game, they'll play after LSU. But Tigers all the way on the 4th. So the SEC bowl slate is going to open on Wednesday of this week with Missouri going to Army. Army is a 4-point favorite in this game. I think Army is going to hammer Missouri in this game. Missouri has a terrible run defense. Army's going to run it down their throat, and I think Army's just going to crush Missouri.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I've seen from this Missouri team all year. No rush defense. Everybody can run. You get a run play, you get a run play, everyone gets a run play, and you know what Army's going to do. They're going to come in there running the crap out of the ball. So I don't know. I don't know if Beatty and the crew can get some offense going, but I know I feel bad for that Missouri rush defense because it's going to be a long day on the ground for them.
That's just not fun to deal with those guys chop blocking you for 4 quarters and running the option. It's just not fun. Emory Jones' swan song for the Florida against the Gus Malzahn's UCF team. The Gators, 6.5-point favorites.
I like the Gators in that one. I like the Gators. They came
to cover 6.5.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course, it's the Gators with no Dan. Of course, they can do that. They took care of me week 12 against Florida State, so I think they'll get me here too. So yeah, let's just go Florida State. Let's go Florida.
Give me the points with the Gus bus. Birmingham, Alabama, Auburn, Sans Bo Nix is going to take on the Houston Cougars. Nix was hurt anyway, but TJ Finley will be the starting quarterback in that game against the Cougs. Auburn is a 2.5-point favorite in their home state.
All right. I wore with my boy TJ in week 12 as well, so I'm gonna have to roll with him here. I think they handle business against Houston. Houston did not look very good against Cincinnati in that championship game, and I think Auburn's they're trying to make a run here. I think Coach Harsin he's not very happy with how they finished the season. Especially in your first year, you want to kind of put Auburn back on the map. That's exactly what they did not do. So I think winning this bowl game will get them going back in that direction, especially coming off a heartbreaking Iron Bowl.
I didn't even realize this until I was prepping for the show last night. that Mississippi State's playing Texas Tech. I didn't even know, and obviously Mike Leach being the former head coach there at Texas Tech. That's interesting. So the Liberty Bowl up there in Memphis, Mississippi State is a 9-point favorite. I think Texas Tech is awful, so I will take Mississippi State and lay the points in that one.
Yeah, I think Mississippi State's going to score a bunch on it. They're going to score a ton of points in this one. I don't know how much Texas Tech defense is going to bring to the table in that bowl game. And my boy Will Rogers is not having a year, man. He's had a really good year this year, and he's been spreading the ball around, mixing it up, and that's very hard to do, especially when you're cramming in preparation for a bowl game. So I got Mississippi State in that one.
North Carolina versus South Carolina in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tar Heels are a 9-point favorite in that one. I think North Carolina is far more talented. I am impressed with how hard South Carolina is playing late in the season. I still think that this game means enough to everybody playing in it that you'll get a good effort from both teams, and to me that means North Carolina will probably win the game. So I've got them. I got them covering the 9 points in that game.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be tough because I don't know if I'm getting my boy Luke Doty. I don't know if I'm getting my boy Zach Nolan. I don't know if I'm getting my boy Jason Brown. Like who
quarterback of the week. It's like Baskin Robbins. Just go in there and scoop something up.
Yeah, it's like who we going to throw in there this week, Beamer? I know you got my boy Spencer Rattler coming next year, so you got to worry about that. But in this one, I'm pounding the Tar Heels in this one. I think it's going to be set up for them to have their way with South Carolina in this bowl game.
In Music City Bowl, I bet they're fired up for this one. You're going to get a great crowd from Tennessee who's excited about their new coach and things that are moving forward, and you get a Purdue fan base that does travel pretty well. I think they'll sell a lot of tickets in Nashville for two teams that are pretty fan bases that are pretty excited for their teams to be in that game. I think it'll be a really good one. Tennessee's laying 4.5. I think they're more athletic. I think they're going to score a lot of points. I'm okay laying the points there with the Vols against Purdue.
Yeah, Tennessee, man, their offense, I know they didn't have the win totals, check the box in the win total column, but as far as, being an explosive offense all year, that's exactly what they're doing. I think making that switch to Hendon Hooker was the best thing that happened to that program all year, and you've seen him really have that offense rolling at a high level, and I think that tempo and a bowl game atmosphere when these kids have been having their Christmas dinners and all that stuff stacking up, I think that's going to be a tough thing to slow down. So I'm rolling with that Tennessee offense and Heupel and the crew.
Just about all of A&M's team has opted out of this next bowl game. It'll be on New Year's Eve, the Gator Bowl. Jalen Weidemeyer, the tight end, just announced he's out. Isaiah Spiller, the running back scout. Zach Calzada's into the transfer portal. He's not playing. You got a couple guys on the defensive side who aren't playing as well. You had a ton of opt-outs. They've got Wake Forest, who's 10-3, ranked 17th in the country. A&M still, they're laying 4 points, and they got basically a walk-on playing quarterback in this game.
Ooh, so no Haynes King, so he's really out for the year. That's tough. So yeah, I think Wake Forest's offense. Just watching my boy
Sandy Hartman.
Yeah, watching my boy Max Johnson and our offense kind of go for some drives on them. I think that's right up the wheelhouse for Wake Forest and their offense. I think they're gonna put up some points against A&M. I think Jimbo's gearing up for next year, man. All this #1 recruiting class stuff and all that stuff. He's focusing on the NIL and all that
Don't
stuff,
even talk about it.
So yeah, I got Wake Forest.
I'll take A&M, the losers. I'll take them and lay the 4 points. We'll skip the playoff games. Obviously, we'll talk a ton about those moving forward. But Saturday, January the 1st, you got 3 Southeastern Conference teams in action. Early on at 11 o'clock, our time, the Outback Bowl, Penn State, and the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Ooh, that's a good game right there. I'm going to go, well, I'm sure they probably had their share of opt-outs. I got to see. I'm sure Burks opted out of them.
He's not playing. That's correct.
He's not playing. Yeah,
Jalen Catalon is.
Catalon's playing. I still got Penn State now. I think Penn State. I think the guys from Arkansas kind of hung it up this year. They had their run, chance to make their run. They didn't do it. I think Penn State's going to have a lot to play for, especially against a big SEC school. So I'm going Penn State in that one.
Get another win over an SEC school, beat Auburn, obviously, earlier in the season. I'll take Penn State in that one as well. I'll lay the 2 points. Speaking of teams that'll be fired up to be in Orlando, Florida, Kentucky and Iowa got Mark Stoops against his alma mater, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Kentucky is a 3-point favorite down there in Orlando. Haven't seen opt-outs from Kentucky. Levis, Chris Rodriguez, Wan'Dale Robinson. I think they're all fired up, ready to roll. So I think you're going to get a full steam ahead Kentucky team. They'll lay the 3 points against Iowa, and I like Kentucky to win the game.
Yeah, I do as well. I think the Iowa team, I gave them plenty of opportunities to impress me this season. I just wasn't too impressed. I wasn't blown away by the Iowa team. So I know their defense is playing okay this year, but I think Kentucky and that firepower on offense in a bowl game environment, I think it's going to be too much for Iowa.
I will take the under. It's 44 is the number. That's a good Iowa defense. It's a disciplined, good Kentucky defense. Not a ton of Yeah, I'll take the under there. Sugar Bowl, Baylor against Ole Miss. Think Ole Miss will be responsible for more French Quarter alcohol sales. Got to pick them in the game, though. Who you like in that one?
Pick 'em. I'm going Corral and the crew, man. I think it's just a swan song for my boy Corral. I think Kiffin and the crew is going to want to send him out with a bang, especially in the Big Easy. I know Lane's going to want to get after it after that. So you got to go out with a win if you want to get after it in the Big Easy.
I think it's good that Corral's playing. I'm excited about that. That's great. And obviously a big game for Ole Miss, big game for Dave Aranda's Baylor team. I'll take Ole Miss as well. We're both just smitten with Ole Miss and their offense, and so we'll take them to win that game. All right, that'll take your look around the Southeastern Conference in bowl season. Again, that starts up on Wednesday with Missouri, Thursday, Florida, and then you wait till next week with Auburn and Mississippi State playing on Tuesday. So that's your look around the league. We'll come back, shut it down for a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. It's Hunt and Hill.
FanDuel Sportsbook.
Sports betting is coming to Louisiana, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on the FanDuel Sportsbook. To celebrate, FanDuel is giving you $100 in free site credit when you register early. That's right. Register and verify now, and you receive a free $100 bonus when we're live.
When this thing goes live, it's going to be so fun to get in the FanDuel Sportsbook app every single day and look at the great odds boosts that they have. They will give you boosts every single day, no matter the sport. They'll give you super boosts on the weekends, so you can multiply that money. Speaking of money, they give you $100 in free site credit. You just got to create your account in the FanDuel Sportsbook. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Download that app. Get $100 in free site credit. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. The bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit. It expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. The offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And now 0% for 60 months on Ford F-150s. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside, off the bench, Hunt and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney, and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
AFR presented by Relief Windows. We'll recap Saints Bucks on Sunday Night Football and LSU Louisiana Tech in hoops. Join us for Monday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Adam Schefter with the report coming out right now. Chris Godwin, Tampa Bay Bucks wide receiver who left the game last night, torn ACL, out for the season. So a big loss to that Bucks offense. Look, I thought the hit was legal last night and not questionable. They don't want you going high. I mean, I guess you could try to hit him in the stomach every single time, but you gotta try to tackle people. I thought it was clean.
Yeah, I think the thing about hitting guys in the stomach, if the offensive player bends over and tilts his head down too, then now you're hitting them in the head now again, so or the neck or shoulder or whatever the heck they want to call it. It's nuts. I think for guys, they put the defense in such a bad position, especially nowadays, and this is coming from an offensive player. But the Saints still found a way to play lights out defense, and it stinks for the Bucks. But they got a guy kind of Antonio Brown who's coming back off suspension, so I don't think they'll be parting ways with him, especially with Godwin being done for the year.
Sure. All right, let's do some take it or leave it. Steve Kerr announces the next head of USA Basketball. He will take over from Greg Popovich, who took over for Mike Krzyzewski. Take or leave Steve Kerr as the new head coach of USA Basketball.
I'll take it. I'll take that. Three-time champion. Obviously, champion as a player. Has been around a lot of great coaches. Actually got coached by Coach Popovich as well. I think Steve Kerr can do a great job as a USA head coach. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, he's definitely different from those guys. There's more so disciplinarians, kind of more dominant figures in their time. Steve Kerr is a little bit more, was closer to the player's age, and obviously was a really nice player. So I think they'll like it. I think he'll do a great job.
All right, collegiate baseball ranks. They got LSU as the number 3 team in the country. Hunt and Hill, live from Barrett's in June, taking or leaving that.
I'll take it. Go to Barrett's. We got to love Barrett's Barley Corn up in Omaha. 5th and Leavenworth. Let's get up there. Coach Johnson, we got some work to do on the mound, though. I think number 3 is a little ambitious, but it's a good start. We'll take that for sure. Kyrie Irving set to return to the Nets lineup for all road games for the remainder of the regular season. Is that the right call for the Nets? Take it or leave it?
I think I'll take it. I'll take it because they've just been demoralized with injuries. They got 5 rookie players starting out there with KD. I think they just saw it. It's getting out of hand. We got away with some of these wins, but we're going to need a little depth. I think especially on the road, and I think KD's playing like 38 minutes a night for a player who's played over 12 seasons in the NBA. That's just not what you want to do. So I think for them getting Kyrie back for at least the road games, it gives you a little cushion so you're not playing your stars just so many minutes down the stretch. All right, let's go. All right, Tom Brady seen slamming the Microsoft Surface tablet as the Bucks shut out the division rival Saints. The Saints shut out the division rival Bucks. Are you taking or leaving your starting quarterback slamming the Surface tablet?
I'll leave that, Tom. It's all right. We don't need to slam the Surface. We don't need to go over and yell at the Saints bench. He gets mad. He's super fiery. We don't have to do that. It's okay. Slam your hat down. Slam your helmet down. Just not murder the Surface. But I guess they probably got enough money to buy a new one, and everybody will be okay, but it's just not a great look to be hammering Surfaces down. Kids, you're at home, you get a Surface for Christmas, don't throw it on the ground because you get upset just because you saw Tom Brady do it. Bad example, Tom. Former Auburn quarterback Bo Nix is headed to Oregon. He'll win a Pac-12 championship there. Take it or leave it.
I'm leaving it for Mr. Manziel. I'm not buying it. He's had ample opportunities. Feels like he was at Auburn forever.
It's a little easier to win the Pac-12 than it is to win the SEC.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. It's something about him. Just too inconsistent for me, man. It will look like Manziel one week, then it'll look like Bo the next. So I don't think you win championships with that level of play. So I'm gonna have to leave that one. All right, here we go here. My man Tiger and Charlie Woods, they finished in second place of the PNC Championship with a heroic effort on Sunday. Are you taking or leaving Charlie Woods to win a major before it's all said and done?
No, I'll leave that. There's a much better chance he never gets his tour card than he wins a major. But I was absolutely enthralled watching that yesterday. I was watching that really more so than the NFL for a lot of the day, just because it was so fun to watch. I mean, you had pros out there. Now, Charlie's playing from an up tee, but he's still hitting the same shots in there because he's so much shorter than the rest of them. He was flagging the ball, just absolutely knocking the sticks down, rolling in 5-footers, rolling in 10-footers. They made 10 birdies in a row yesterday and cut the gap all the way to 1 with John Daly and Littlejohn. Littlejohn's a college golfer at Arkansas. He's a freshman at Arkansas. Charlie's like 12 or something. So, Tiger was struggling a little bit, gimpy a little bit. He had to ride in a cart, and he was limping a little. But he hit the ball pretty well. Charlie was great. It was really, really fun to watch those guys play. I think that's a great event in this little 1 month where everybody's kind of off, and they've got team events, father-son events, father-daughter events. But it was really cool to watch Charlie be able to do that at that age and continue to hit really good shot after really good shot when most of us out there can't get it airborne every time at that age. I'm almost cussed there. I'm 33 years old and I can't get it airborne every time. So that was really impressive to watch Charlie play.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting coached by one of the best to ever do it. What a guy to, have show you the ropes and show you everything. I didn't get much to watch it, but I saw the highlights and I saw them making that run on Sunday, and it's cool. It's such a cool thing to see, especially, watching Tiger win that major and seeing Charlie right there and to see this team come full circle and playing in tournaments together. I think that's super cool to watch.
Yep, sure was. So they'll be doing that, I'm sure, for years to come. That's something that Tiger can do if he can't go out there and win the U.S. Open anymore, which I don't think he can. He can definitely play with this kid for 3 days and ride in the cart, which was fun to see. It was also cool to see Lee Trevino teaching. Charlie's got Tiger Woods and Lee Trevino out there teaching him golf shots. That's a pretty cool spot to be in if you're young Charlie Woods. So that'll just about wrap things up for us here on a Monday edition. We got a great show coming up tomorrow. Clark Humble coming at you, who's been to every single D1 football. That'll do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Week 16 in the NFL.
We know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential